Welcome to S2 TV. This is Getting Ripped with Dr. Tiff. I'm Tiffany Breeding with StudiO2 Fitness in Nashville. And today's topic is called Paleo Schmaleo. And you can guess by the title of it, today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of the paleo mentality, what they call the caveman diet or the paleo diet. And the reason I'm so passionate about this is because after years of understanding nutritional science and after decades of really trying everything that I thought was research-based and evidence-based, I really have to step back and recognize that there's just not one approach. You have to figure out what works for your body. It's a unique, individualized process, and that's what I try to do for my clients. And so when I find one of these trends, these Paleo Atkins, South Beach Zone, that put people in a pigeonhole and say, eliminate this, focus on this, don't do, shouldn't do, can't do, it really just frustrates me because I believe that you can have your cake and eat it too. I truly believe if you find the 80-20 moderation that it takes, you can be successful. And unfortunately in today's society, people are 20-80. They're doing 80% of the wrong things and 20% of the right things, and they're looking for a quick fix. They're looking for some cookie cutter approach to finding sustainable weight loss, and it's just not that simple. And when you look at something like caveman mentality and they're asking you to eliminate things, so the basis of the Paleolithic or the caveman diet is to focus on fish, meat, nuts, seeds, fruits, and veggies. So they're eliminating massive food groups, including legumes, grains, dairy, and all refined sugars. Now, is there some basis to that? Absolutely. Should we avoid packaged, processed, refined foods and salts when we can? Well, absolutely, and I would never suggest otherwise. But I look at the reality of the long-term sustainability of that. And I think what I want to start out with is we can't really define a caveman's diet because we have no idea what those people were eating. We can do research and science and look at geography and agriculture and see what was going on at those times, and we can guess as to what certain people were eating in certain regions of the world. But if you are going to say this in a box is what Paleolithic man ate, it's going to vary by region, it's going to vary by the season of the year. So to just define this one thing as paleo or caveman is misleading. So it's not a diet for several reasons. One, because there's no specific parameters about foods that are and are not acceptable under that umbrella of the paleo diet. But in addition to that, a diet has a numerical value attached to it. It's about eating and expending energy and what that balance looks like in addition to your protein, carb, and fat intake in numerical ranges that fit your body and your metabolism. And at S2 Nutrition, every single client gets their own macronutrient breakdown of what your body needs based on fitness expenditure or fitness levels, your metabolism, and what balance is going to work for you to maximize body composition. So to call this a diet, it's really a direction. And like I said, on a 40,000 foot view, there's a lot of reality to what paleo supporters are trying to accomplish. They're trying to cut out all the crap. But I would argue that to do that all the time is setting yourself up for failure or trying to. And you see that in this community. They have a cheat day, a refeed day, a blow it out day. They're not really following that diet. If that's the diet, then it needs to include, oh, but if you are walking through the woods and you come across a Dairy Queen, knock yourself out. But they have been very, very specific about the foods you can and cannot eat. The third point I want to make is it dismisses logic. because of the restriction, because of the lack of grains and legumes and other sustainable carbohydrates, it just lends itself to being high fat and high protein. And the argument is fat doesn't make you fat. Well, too much of even a good thing can be bad for you. I mean, if all I eat is high fat meats, bison and salmon, and I focus on oils, coconut oils, avocados, yes, are those healthy versions of fat? But if I eat 100 grams of fat a day, good or not, I'm going to store fat. In the paleo mentality, because of the lack of nutrients from carbs, they have to load up on proteins and fats. So you have the issue of how much protein is too much and can our body actually assimilate, and there's a huge range there. Some scientists argue that we can't even assimilate more than 25 grams in a single serving. So to sit down to a 10-ounce burger, our bodies are not really going to process that efficiently and effectively. It will get processed, but are we going to be able to use it for muscle protein synthesis, for immediate recovery and repair? Not all of it. So to overdo proteins and overdo fats is no better than overdoing carbs. So the argument that fats trump carbs in terms of needing them, again, everybody is different, but I would argue that carbohydrates and the insulin and the glycogen that they provide are anabolic nutrients. That and protein are the foundations of development of muscle and lean mass. So if I'm going to default to overshooting something, I'd rather overshoot my carbs. And yes, the glycemic value of those matters, the timing of those matters, and how we space them out through the day. But to say that it's better to eat high fat, high protein than high carb, given that fat provides very little, if any, anabolic processes to the body, is just misleading in and of itself. And in a community like CrossFit that's performance driven, I'm shocked that they would negate large carbohydrate groups like brown rices, pastas, whole grain, whole sprouted grain breads, legumes, beans. Those are such an amazing low glycemic carbohydrate. So that really turns my head the wrong way in terms of listening to this argument for the paleo approach. And from a logic standpoint, I want to just go back a second. If I sit down and I eat a pound of bacon, and it's strict paleo, you're going to tell me that's healthier than sitting down to a serving of brown rice, lean protein, veggies, and maybe a Greek yogurt as a snack. But because it's dairy and because it's got grains, it's not good for me, but a pound of bacon, I'm spot on. So I just want to run through this. I know there's a lot of people that are all in, 100% paleo, and I don't want to rock the boat, but I just want to educate. You know, it's about 80-20 balance. And why am I going to work as hard as I'm working in the gym if I can't go out and enjoy a burger with the bun sometimes? Or if I want to have some ice cream, why can't I have that sometimes? So I think we have to be realistic. We have to find a sustainable, manageable approach for long-term success, not a short-term fix, which a lot of people are initially turned on to paleo by a 40-day challenge, and thus they look at it and think, oh, this diet works. Well, if you go from eating a bunch of crap to cleaning it up and exercising 2 days a week to exercising every day for 40 days, of course your body's going to change. So be careful what you apply the results to, the cause and effect, and be realistic about what's going to work for you. Let me know if I can help. Thanks, guys.